Hello, in this video we'll discuss some of the Sententiae of Wheelock's Latin, Chapter 4. As always, you should translate the rest on your own, and we can discuss them in conferencing. Let's start with number 2. Si pericula sunt vera, infortunatus es. We have two verbs and two clauses separated by a comma, sunt and es. Let's start before the comma. Sunt is third person plural, so we're looking for a they subject. Does anything fit the bill? Something that's plural and could be a subject. Anything in the nominative. Well, pericula could be nominative, plural, neuter, or it could be accusative, plural, neuter. So let's assume it's nominative and see if that sentence works. Dangers are, and then we have see, that's easy, so if. Dangers are, and then vera means true. If dangers are true, and we might add a the here, just for kicks. If the dangers are true, I'm not sure if you've noticed, by the way, that Latin does not have articles like the or a. So if the dangers are true, vera. Can we parse vera? It's plural and neuter because it agrees with pericula. That also means that it's in the nominative because it's connected by sunt. So it's a predicate in the nominative. Nominative, plural, and neuter. Now for the second clause. S. You are. If the dangers are true, comma, you are, and I think that's pretty clear, unfortunate. Now a quick question though. The person we're talking to here, you are unfortunate. Is this a man or a woman? And how would we know? This is a nominative predicate. You could have also written tu es infortunatus, something like this. Tu es infortunatus. We know it's a man because us is a masculine ending. It's also a substantive adjective. You could also write tu es infortunata if the unfortunate soul in question were a woman. But here it's a man. On to number 4. Non bella est fama filii tui. Verb? Well, that's clear. Est. Bella, here is the adjective. Filii is a noun, but it's not in the nominative singular. This could be nominative plural or genitive singular. We'll decide which in a minute. But I think it must be fama, which isn't fame here, it's reputation. So, reputation is what? Non bella, not beautiful. Reputation is not beautiful. We have here is feminine, nominative, and singular, right? It's a predicate adjective. So the reputation, let's add another the here. The reputation is not beautiful. If we see this as genitive, all of a sudden we find out whose reputation is not beautiful. The reputation, and we'll add it in here, of your son is not beautiful. In other words, your boy is bad news. Let's have a look at number 5 too. You can probably figure this one out just by eyeballing it, but let's think about the grammar. The verb, again, est, not too hard to figure that out. Then, though, we have this infinitive verb. One of the first verbs we learned, errare, to err or to wander. Let's go with to err. So to err is, and then clearly, human. That's not too difficult to figure out, but let's think about this adjective a little more, because there's no noun to go with it. That means it's a substantive adjective, for one thing. It's in the neuter singular, and of course it's nominative because it's also a predicate adjective. So more literally, you might say that to err is a human thing. Or if we go with the wording of Wheelock's definition, pertaining to man, to err is a thing pertaining to man. Well, to err as human is a lot simpler and just as accurate. So, let's skip down to number 9. Magistri pavis pueris crustula et dona saepe dant. We have seen the verb here before, dant. This is the verb dare. So what kind of subject are we looking for? This is third person plural, right? There's our ending. So we're looking for a they subject. So we have three nouns here that could be nominative plural. We have magistri, we have crustula, and dona. These could all possibly be nominative plural and thus be the subject. But magistri could also be genitive singular, just as crustula and dona could also both be plural neuter accusatives. So let's think about just what makes the most sense. Think about the context here. What if we were to write cookies and gifts give to little boys? That's the parvus pueris, by the way, the dative, to little boys. Well, that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, that the cookies and gifts would be giving them. But magistri, teachers give crustula, which Wheelock glossed as cookies, and gifts, that's an S, to little boys. Oh, and then we have our adverb saipe. Let's put it over here. Teachers often give cookies and gifts to little boys. Number 12, just because Ecclesiastes is always fun. Infinitus est numerus stultorum. Again, not too difficult. You might even be able to figure it out just by looking at it. But we recognize the masculine nominative form, numerus, number. So, number is, and again, we might as well add the here. The number is what? Well, it's infinite. The number is infinite. Then we have genitive plural of fools. The number is infinite. We might say better is infinite is the number of fools, something like that. It's quite right. No one's really immune. Now let's look at number 14, a good long one. Then we'll talk about the others, not to mention the Cicero text in conferencing. Mali sunt in nostro numero, et de exitio bonorum virorum cogitant, bonus adiuvate, conservate populum Romanum. As always, where's the verb? Well, we have sunt right away here, third person plural, so we want a they subject. There isn't much in this sentence that could be a subject other than this third person plural adjective here in the nominative, mali. It's a substantive adjective, masculine plural, so probably something like evil men or wicked men. Evil men are, and then the world's easiest preposition, in. Evil men are in. Nostro is glossed for us. Our number. And this stuff comes after in, so what case is it in? Ablative, of course. Et, and, let's skip down to the verb actually, cogitant. Evil men are in our number, and what are they doing? Cogito ergo sum, right? They think. And what do they think about? They will tell us that. Think about exitio, second chapter vocabulary, or maybe third chapter vocabulary, now that I think about it. It's second declension, but in the third chapter, about the destruction. Bonorum virorum, genitive plural, of good men, period. Now we have a couple of imperative forms, plural imperatives. Y'all do this. Adiuvate, that's in this chapter's vocabulary. Help. And then we have bonos. This is masculine, plural, and accusative. Well, it could also be neuter, but it's probably referring back to these good men right here. So help the good men. Conservate, I think that was in the first chapter's vocabulary. Save or preserve the people, the Roman people. In the accusative. Let's put a the here. Save the Roman people. So that's all for today. As always, look at the other sentences and bring any questions you might have to conferencing. See you then. And I forgot to include a couple of English to Latin sententiae. As I said, it's important to get some English to Latin in so that our knowledge isn't merely passive. This is especially true for you biologists. After all, what if you have to name a species in Latin? So here we go. My son's opinions are often foolish. A good sentence. Let's start with a verb. Here we go. Are. So we're looking for, they are basically, which is sunt. The subject is going to be opinions. So sententiae. If you remember, this word sententiae does not just mean sentences, it can also mean opinion. So sententiae sunt. Opinions are often, saipe, if you recall, foolish. Now this has to agree with sententiae. That is, it has to be feminine. Sententia is feminine, plural, and nominative. So, foolish, the root is stult, and then you get basically the same ending, stultai, or exactly the same ending. And we have one thing left, the genitive, my sons, or the opinions of my son. Me, okay, filius, so just filii, the genitive. Genitive singular. So that's one. Let's look at one more. The daughters and sons of great men and women are not always great. Quite true, but they always seem to have a trust fund anyway. So, again, the verb is are. So we can start with sunt. The subjects are going to be daughters and sons. So, filii et filii. And then we're going to have of great men and women. Let's write this up here. I don't have enough room here. Great men. This is, of course, via, man, magnus via, but that's singular and nominative. We need genitive and plural. So, magnorum virorum. And women, et, and now we need and of great women. Well, magna femina, but that's singular nominative. So, magnarum feminarum. So, filii et filii, magnorum virorum et magnarum feminarum sunt, not, non, always, semper. And now what do we do with that? Clearly, this has to agree with the daughters and sons. That is, it has to be plural, it has to be nominative, but does it have to be feminine, masculine, neuter? It has to be masculine. Non semper magni. Now, why does it have to be masculine? Because when you have a mixed group, it's always masculine. So, see you in conferencing.